Do you feel the emotional distance with your adult children weighing on your heart? That feeling that no matter how much you love them, the connection isn't as light and flowing as you wish? I know how natural it is to long for that closeness. In this video, you'll discover the keys to transform this dynamic. Finding a new way to relate that will bring more peace and joy to both of you. You'll leave here with a fresh perspective and loving tools to nurture that connection. Get ready to rewrite the script of this relationship from the heart. The journey to a deeper connection with your adult children begins with a gentle look within yourself. Louise Hay teaches us that motherly dignity is the first step to healing any relationship, and that means recognizing your own worth, regardless of what your children do or don't do. It's about understanding that you are a complete woman with your own light, your own dreams, and your own life, which do not depend on their approval or constant presence. Often, without realizing it, we project onto our children the need to fill voids or validate our existence. This can manifest as demands, an incessant search for attention, or deep sadness when they don't act as we expect. But, as Louise Hay always reminds us, I am worthy of love and a full life, and this truth needs to resonate in every fiber of your being before anything else. Think of the mirror metaphor. What you see reflected in your children is often a reflection of how you feel about yourself. If you feel incomplete, you might seek the missing piece in them. If you feel overwhelmed, you might project onto them the responsibility for your happiness. Motherly dignity is the invitation for you to see yourself as whole, loved, and enough for your own sake. To begin cultivating this dignity, set aside time for what nourishes you, for what makes you feel alive and fulfilled, regardless of your role as a mother. It could be a hobby, a personal project, a moment of silence, or a walk in nature. By doing so, you reconnect with your essence, and this fullness radiates, transforming the energy around you. Remember, self-love is the foundation of everything. When you feel worthy, you don't demand, you invite. You don't charge, you inspire. And this is the energy your adult children, on their own journey, will feel and respond to in a more authentic and loving way. Continuing our journey, let's talk about a love that liberates, a love without invoices. Louise Hay invites us to love our adult children without the need to tally what we've done for them or expect anything in return. It's a love given out of pure joy, not obligation or a hidden desire for reciprocity. When we love without strings attached, energy flows freely, creating a space of lightness and authenticity. Many mothers, with hearts full of good intentions, end up placing an invisible invoice of sacrifices and dedication upon their children. Phrases like, "I did everything for you," or "after all I've been through," can unintentionally create an enormous burden, an emotional debt that hinders freedom and spontaneity in the relationship. Louise Hay teaches us that true love doesn't demand. It celebrates the other's freedom. Think of Anna's story. She always reminded her son Pedro of all her efforts and sacrifices. Pedro in turn felt suffocated, guilty, and their relationship became a minefield of veiled resentments. It was when Anna understood that her love was a gift, not a bargaining chip, that the dynamic shifted. She began to express her love without expectations, and Pedro, feeling free, started to approach her by choice, not obligation. To practice love without invoices, start observing your thoughts and words. If you notice yourself tallying what you've done, stop and affirm to yourself, "I deserve to give and receive love unconditionally." The love you give is a reflection of the abundance in your heart, and it doesn't need to be measured or reciprocated to have value. By releasing the need to charge for love, you free yourself and consequently free your child. This lightness creates fertile ground for the connection to flourish more authentically and joyfully, based on choice and a genuine desire to be together, not on emotional debts. Deepening our connection, we arrive at the art of true listening. Louise Hay teaches us that deep listening is an act of love and respect, especially with our adult children. It's not just about hearing the words, but perceiving what lies behind them, embracing the feeling, without judgment, without interruptions, and without the need to offer immediate solutions. It's about giving them space to feel seen, understood, and validated on their own journey. Often when our children share something, our first reaction is to advise, correct, or even minimize what they feel. We do this out of love, of course, wanting to protect them or fix the situation. But by doing so, we can inadvertently convey the message that we don't trust their ability to handle their own lives, or that their feelings aren't valid. This, unfortunately, can lead them to shut down, avoid sharing, and the relationship becomes superficial. Think of Laura's story. She always had a ready answer for everything her daughter, Sophia, told her. Sophia, in turn, stopped sharing her challenges, feeling she wasn't truly heard. When Laura began practicing active listening, just listening, asking open-ended questions like, "How do you feel about this?" or "What are your thoughts on it?" and allowing for silence, Sophia opened up again. She felt her mother finally saw her as a capable adult. To cultivate the art of listening, start with the intention to simply listen. Resist the urge to interrupt or offer solutions. Ask questions that invite reflection, not those that direct the answer. Allow for pauses in the dialogue, giving your child space to organize their thoughts and feelings. This practice of true listening not only strengthens the connection, but also nurtures trust. Your child will feel safer sharing, knowing they'll find a space of acceptance, not judgment. And that trust is the foundation for the relationship to flourish in its most authentic form. Control. It's one of the biggest traps of motherly love, isn't it? We love so much, want to protect so much, that we forget our children have grown up. Louise Hay teaches us that adults don't need maternal permission. They need respect and space to flourish. Control, no matter how much it comes from a place of affection and concern, creates distance. It's like trying to hold sand too tightly. The harder we squeeze, the more it slips through our fingers. This need to control can manifest in various ways. Unsolicited advice, intrusive questions, or even attempting to manage their adult lives. What happens is that instead of feeling loved and secure, they feel suffocated and disrespected in their individuality. This, unfortunately, can lead them to pull away, lie, or create barriers to protect their autonomy, even if it hurts both sides. Think of Sarah's story. She controlled everything, even using trackers to know where her son, Daniel, was. The result? Daniel lied, pulled away, and eventually moved to another country. It was only when Sarah truly grieved the control, stopping unsolicited advice and respecting his choices, that the dynamic shifted. He started asking for her opinion on his own initiative, and visits became meetings between two adults without intrusion or demands. To apply this key in your life, start a detox from unsolicited advice for a period. Resist the urge to comment on personal choices, whether about partners, career, or appearance, unless explicitly invited. Treat your child as the adult they are. Respect their schedule, their boundaries, and their decisions. Letting go of control doesn't mean ceasing to care. It means trusting the path they are building and the wisdom they possess. It's an act of deep love that opens space for genuine closeness based on choice and mutual respect. And when we let go, something wonderful happens. We open ourselves up to our own lives. And that's what we'll talk about in the next topic. After discussing dignity, love without demands, and true listening, we arrive at a point Louise Hay always emphasized: the importance of having a full and purposeful life. Adult children, you see, don't admire out of obligation. They admire out of inspiration. When a mother flourishes, when she has her own projects and passions, she becomes a beacon, and the child naturally wants to be part of that light, that energy. It's an exchange of energy, not a demand. Often, without realizing it, we negate ourselves for our children, and when they grow up and go their own ways, we feel empty. This lack of personal purpose can lead us to seek validation and fulfillment from our children that only we can give ourselves. But, as Louise Hay teaches us, true joy and purpose come from within, from cultivating our own inner garden. And that's what makes us truly attractive and inspiring. Think of Julia's story. She was disheartened, without projects, and felt she was merely tolerated by her son Andrew. When Julia decided to resume her studies, dedicate herself to art, return to exercise, and engage in volunteering, something profound changed within her. She gained an energy and purpose that radiated, and Andrew, noticing this transformation, started calling more, proudly introducing her to friends, and saying she inspired him. To be this inspiring mother, the invitation is for you to resume or start activities that you are passionate about. It could be a course, a new hobby, volunteer work, or anything that ignites your soul. Share your achievements and learnings, not your laments. Be the example of what you'd like your child to learn about life. This journey of self-discovery and flourishing not only transforms your life, but also the dynamic with your children, inviting them to a connection based on respect and admiration. And speaking of practice, don't go anywhere. Soon, we'll have an exercise that will help you apply all of this in your daily life, bringing more lightness and harmony to your relationships. But first, let's delve deeper into the foundation of all this, a mother's self-love, which is the true cornerstone for any genuine connection. At the heart of all the keys we've explored so far lies an essential foundation, a mother's self-love. Louise Hay teaches us with her nurturing wisdom that the healing of any relationship begins within ourselves. When a mother cultivates a deep and true love for herself, she radiates an energy of wholeness that naturally extends to her adult children. It's like a well-tended garden. Its flowers bloom and perfume the entire surroundings, inviting presence, not demanding it. When this self-love is lacking, we can, unintentionally, seek validation and fulfillment from our children that we lack within ourselves. This manifests as veiled demands, difficulty in letting go of control, or an incessant search for attention. Our children, no matter how much they love us, feel this energy of neediness and often pull away to protect themselves, not because they don't love us, but because the dynamic becomes heavy. True connection flourishes in lightness and freedom. Imagine Maria, who dedicated her life to her children, and when they grew up she felt an immense void. She constantly sought their approval, which led to friction. Upon discovering Louise Hay's teachings, Maria began to dedicate herself, rediscovering her talents and nourishing her soul with activities that made her happy. She realized that by loving herself more, the need for external validation diminished, and her children, feeling this new lightness, began to approach her with more spontaneity and joy. Cultivating self-love is an act of courage and kindness towards yourself. Start with small gestures. Set aside time for what makes you feel good. Set healthy boundaries. And practice self-compassion. Speak to yourself with the same tenderness you would speak to a dear friend. This is the seed of a new way of relating to the world and, especially, to your children. When a mother fully loves and accepts herself, she no longer needs her children to fill voids or validate her existence. She becomes a living example of self-acceptance and dignity, inspiring them to do the same in their own lives. This inner wholeness is the foundation for a genuine connection, where love flows freely, unburdened by the past. For genuine connection to flourish, it's essential to look at past wounds with an open heart, seeking forgiveness and release. Often we carry resentments and hurts, conscious or not, that become invisible barriers between us and our adult children. Louise Hay teaches us that resentment is like taking a spoonful of poison every day, hoping the other person feels the effect. But in truth, it is we who suffer, preventing love from flowing freely. These wounds can stem from unmet expectations, words spoken or unspoken, moments when we felt misunderstood or undervalued. And sometimes our children also carry their own hurts concerning us. Forgiveness here doesn't mean agreeing with what happened or minimizing the pain, but rather releasing the negative energy that binds us to the past. It's an act of self-love that frees us to live in the present and build a lighter future. Think of Elizabeth Story, who felt an enormous burden regarding her daughter, Sarah, due to choices Sarah made in her youth that Elizabeth didn't approve of. This silent resentment created a palpable distance between them. When Elizabeth, through deep inner work, decided to forgive Sarah, and more importantly, forgive herself for her own expectations and judgments, the relationship transformed. Lightness returned, and they were able to reconnect as two free souls. The practice of forgiveness is an internal and continuous process. Start by acknowledging the pain, validating your feelings, and then, consciously, decide to release what no longer serves you. This can be done through affirmations, writing, or sincere conversations with yourself. Remember, as Louise Hay tells us, I am capable of releasing the past with love. By doing so, you not only free yourself but also create space for your child to feel this new energy and approach without the weight of old burdens. When we release the past, we create a new space for love and understanding. This is the foundation for the relationship with your adult children to flourish in its most authentic and dignified form. This exercise is a practical invitation for you to apply the principles Louise Hay teaches us in your daily life, transforming the dynamic with your adult children and cultivating more self-love and lightness. To experience this exercise, you can re-watch this video daily for a week, focusing on 1 or 2 checklist points each day, or jot down the main points in a notebook for reference. Each day, observe your interactions and reflect on which items you manage to apply. At the end of the day, feel what has changed and the small transformations you've noticed. Think about each sentence. Today, I dedicated time to an activity that nourishes me and makes me feel whole, regardless of my child's attention. I avoided any comment that could sound like a demand or emotional blackmail. I reminded myself, I am worthy of love and a full life. To made a gesture of affection or offered help to my child without mentioning past sacrifices or expecting anything in return. I resisted the temptation to tally what I've done for them. I affirmed to myself, I deserve to give and receive love unconditionally. When my child spoke, I listened until the end, without interrupting or offering unsolicited solutions. I asked open-ended questions to encourage their expression, such as, how did you feel about that? Or, what are your thoughts on it? I practiced active silence, allowing for pauses in the conversation. I resisted the urge to give unsolicited advice about my child's life choices, career, relationships, etc. I respected their schedule and boundaries without trying to control or invade their space. I trusted. I am free to trust my child's life process. I shared with my child something I'm passionate about or a personal project I'm developing. I dedicated time to a hobby or interest that brings me joy and purpose. I reminded myself, I am a source of inspiration and joy. I dedicated a moment of the day to take care of myself, doing something that nourishes my soul. I spoke to myself with kindness and compassion, as I would to a dear friend. I affirmed, I love and approve of myself exactly as I am. I identified a small hurt or resentment towards my child, and consciously decided to release it. I practiced forgiving myself for any guilt I may have carried. I affirmed, I am capable of releasing the past with love. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect. Which checklist items did I manage to apply today? What did I feel when applying these principles? Did I notice any small changes in my interaction or my feelings? Remember, the goal isn't perfection, but gentle and consistent practice. Every small step is a victory towards a more loving and free connection. Dear one, Louise Hay teaches us that love is the greatest healing force, and by cultivating it in your own heart, you radiate that energy to everyone around you, creating a field of harmony and reconnection. Allow this wisdom to flourish in your life with gentleness and patience. If this video gave you new tools to nurture your relationship with your adult children, please subscribe to the channel to continue receiving more of Louise Hay's teachings. I am grateful for this journey and for each one of you.